report on the pages of your website. But it's another thing, okay, to hear from the horse's mouth. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Good evening, how are you?
I am fantastic. Good to have you on Talk That Talk this lovely evening.
Thank you for hearing me.
All right then. Now let's get down to business. Now these allegations, okay, we have all of the facts well spelled out on your website. We've actually reeled them out here to the listeners. But now there is this claim from the defense that basically the media is trying to, or in fact it was actually termed that the media were disgruntled elements, okay, trying to throw mud at the fight against insurgency and terrorism in the country. Is that the case? Or maybe we have a grade A class 1 corruption playing out in the Nigerian military?
Well, as we have heard from President Buhari himself, he made it very clear to Nigerians in the last 1 year that what has hindered the fight against insurgency is the corruption in the military. And this is one instance in which a certain military general has been caught, owning properties and having suspicious transactions that showed clearly that his time within the top echelon of the military has led to corruption. And we've provided evidence, and as we speak, and I mean it seriously, they have not debunked a single shred of evidence we provided.
Okay.
None. They have only justified by claiming that he's a farmer, and that this is some kind of shareholding, economic entrepreneurship by a certain military general.
Okay.
As you know, this is what they call ballooning in this part of the world. Rubbish.
Okay, now looking at the fact that you mentioned entrepreneurial moves by the general. Now, can it be safe to say that the Nigerian army really makes room for such things? Because when you juxtapose it with what plays out in the U.S. Army, it has been reported that people leave in droves, okay, from the U.S. Army because of the fact that it doesn't provide them the opportunity to, engage their entrepreneurial drive or skills.
No, the reason they don't allow that in the U.S. Army, and generally as a global standard, is that people can easily abuse their position to make money at the expense of their professional performance.
Okay.
And that is why most U.S. generals actually start making money after they leave office. They use their experience. They give speeches. They are consultants to security companies.
Private security firms.
They become part of other companies. But in this case, let me be very specific. There's nothing like entrepreneurship. In one of the instances where we caught General Brutai hands in a cookie jar, one major in the finance department of the army was the one making the deposit in the Sky Bank account for the properties that he purchased. You cannot tell me that it is right for Brutai to ask the major in the army to be making 10 million deposit every month into special hidden account for properties that he's purchasing in Dubai. That tells us that this has nothing to do with any private engagement or entrepreneurship. You may have claimed that he has the right to own a farm, but if you go to the farm today, you find out that it's army resources that are used, soldiers that are being used in those places.
Interesting.
And they have not denied it. We provided evidence to show to the world that it is not Brutai or his wife that are making the deposit. It's a major in the Nigerian army. And we mentioned the name of the major.
Emmanuel Adebola, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
They have not denied that. You cannot. So every other thing is just hair splitting, and they're just trying to make it sound like, these guys are not interested in our war against terrorism. If Brutai is the only person who can fight against Boko Haram, then Nigerian military is finished. He should disband himself. But not the other people who can fight against terrorism if Buratai's hands are tainted, and that's what our story has shown.
All right, now can you confirm to us when these properties were actually purchased? Okay, because there's so much conflicting stories here and there. We want you to state it out based on the evidence that you have presented before you. Tell us when these properties were bought.
We provided the evidence here, and they have not denied it. There is an agreement that is signed on the property, and we provided. And when he did the agreement, he provided his international passport, those of his two wives.
Okay.
And the agreement is there on our website, www.saharareporters.com. You can look for it. If I start telling you it makes people lazy. Go and do the research. This doesn't require a lot of work. Just log on the website and type in the story about Brutai, and you find all the evidence there. That's number one. So, and he said that he paid in installments. Well, maybe for the second property. In the first property, it was stated clearly that he got some part of the payment shaved off for him because he paid at once and he paid on time.
Okay.
You know, so he got some special incentives for early payment, for paying in chunks. For paying at once.
Yeah.
But we think the second property, which has not been identified, but which we think is part of the same building, they were making installments through the Skybank. The Skybank teller is there on our website as well, where you can see how this major was dropping money into that. Maybe after they found out that others were looking into it, they probably used another means to pay. But they doesn't have not disclosed, you know, how the second property was bought. In fact, it was them who disclosed to the world that they have a second property in his name in Dubai. But we have also gone ahead to show that he also has plenty of properties in Nigeria. He has a farm where he raises snakes. He just has a stadium. He has buildings, you know, and it's like a religious center. That's no longer an agricultural entrepreneur concern, as they claim is permissible in the military. So, yeah, so they're just trying to cover this up. But, you know, they are paying ostrich. The entire body of this scandal is out there. And nobody is fooled by, you know, them saying that this is Boko Haram that's migrated onto the internet. You know, that's rubbish. You know, they're just distracting the attention of the public from this very, very monumental fraud that we just discovered. Don't forget that we have army generals, former generals who have been tried right now. Who were also his superiors. You know, he was director of procurement. Initially, they lied that he was never director of procurement at the army headquarters. At the defense headquarters. But we have provided evidence now to show that he was director of procurement. Because that is there on the website of DPP when he went and gave a speech in 2014. So that has been disputed as well. So the thing we should do next is to investigate why that major is dropping money on behalf of Brutai to pick up properties in Dubai.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Omoyele Sowore, for your well spelled out thoughts right here on Talk That Talk this lovely evening. We do appreciate and we hope that in the course of this investigation that we would have you, all right, on the show to explain further.